Let's talk about pit bulls now. There have been a number of incidents. Over the weekend, a toddler mauled to death in Welkom by pit bulls. It's just the latest incident involving this breed. There are now growing calls to ban pit bulls as pets in South Africa. This particular breed has already been banned in a number of other countries. But in South Africa, where we cannot control pit bull fighting, which is already banned, what hope do we have of actually banning the entire breed? Let's speak now to Rautenbach, spokesperson for the Pit Bull Federation of South Africa. Thanks so much for joining us. This is such an emotive issue. We do know that pit bulls were bred for aggression. And in a country like South Africa, you look at our crime stats, you can perhaps understand why someone might want a pit bull for protection. Unfortunately, they do seem to top the list when it comes to the breed of dog that has killed the most humans and other animals. Just give me, in a nutshell, a bit of an understanding of the origins of the breed and how the aggression came in.
Okay, the Pit Bull Terrier in its modern format was bred for one thing only, and that is for dog fighting. Now, they do descend from the original bull baiting dogs, but when bull baiting became illegal, they developed into the pit fighting dog. Now, something that's very interesting is a lot of people think because they were bred for dog fighting and dog aggression, that this automatically makes them human aggressive. Dog-directed aggression and human-directed aggression are two different things. Now, in the American Pit Bull Terrier breed standard, and yes, it is a breed, it's not an umbrella term. The true American Pit Bull Terrier breed standard calls for a dog that is dog aggressive because that is what the breed was for. But human aggression is actually a trait that us as show judges have to disqualify. And it is something that is a serious fault and is not accepted in the breed, unfortunately. When the mass breeding of these dogs and the popularity that has just exploded, what we are starting to see is, and this is a trait that can creep in with any breed, it's not just pit bulls, the trait of human-directed aggression, which is largely genetic, has started to become more and more prevalent, and this is global, because they've become so popular and dogs with these poor temperaments were bred. Now, your preservation breeders will not breed with a dog who shows any kind of human-directed aggression. In fact, most of them cull the dogs. Yeah. It's a very harsh reality, but it's what needs to be done.
I mean, what I'm hearing you saying... Sorry, just finish that thought, and then I just want to come in with a couple of other questions.
With mass breeding and commercial breeding, these breeders don't care about temperament, which is one of the most important things that you breed into a dog. They care about the bottom dollar and the first person who comes with money. And unfortunately, this awful, awful trait has crept in. Yeah. Another problem is crossbreeding.
Yeah, so I mean, you're highlighting that it's a dog that was specifically trained for aggression and fighting other dogs, but unfortunately the crossbreeding and the way the dogs are handled has just increased the riskiness of this animal. What we're seeing worldwide is that a number of countries have looked at the stats, as we are now, and just gone, look, it's not worth the risk. I think France, Poland, the Netherlands, among a long list of countries that have total bans. Other countries have bans on breeding or importing, or they have rules around fencing and reinforcements. Clearly a breed that has to be really carefully managed. Do we have any restrictions on pit bulls in South Africa at the moment?
No, we don't. And actually breed bans don't really work. One just has to look at the increase in maulings in Australia where they're banned. It's very simple. When you ban a breed and you make something contraband, for some other reason it becomes more popular. So what's happening is we are seeing an increase in dog attacks and maulings in these countries, but here, they're banned. Here in South Africa, we have laws, yet they're not even being enforced. Yeah. How are we expecting our police, who can barely enforce the laws that cover maulings and attacks now, to now enforce banning and confiscating dogs with so many people and so few police officers and law enforcement per person in South Africa? Who's going to enforce this? And how are you going to prove it's a pit bull? Yeah, it's easy to say ban pit bulls.
True.
How? A pit bull is a breed. So without a pedigree and knowledge that it is in fact a true pit bull, what are you banning?
It's such a good point you make, and it's such a difficult situation because, as you say, dog fighting, pit bull fighting is completely banned in South Africa, yet we know it carries on. Any idea how prevalent it is?
Dog fighting in South Africa is very prevalent. And it's not just, one of the worst things that society's come to think of is that it's just some guy in a township or some lower level, low income person who owns a pit bull and fights his dog. No, it's not. Pit bull fighting occurs in all levels of society, and they're different levels. And it goes so far as we've got lawmakers who fight dogs. We have police officers who fight dogs. We have veterinarians who assist dog fighters. So it's one of those things that it's bad. And the problem that we're sitting with in South Africa is because pit bulls have become so easily available. I mean, I was chatting to one of our youngsters in the township. We do a lot of, when I say work, engagement with a lot of township kids, because there are a lot of phenomenal township pit bull owners. And they were saying, it's become a currency in the townships, and for $500 you can get a pit bull now. And these kids fall into this trap. So it's, banning the breed sounds easy, but this is such a complex problem. I mean, going so far as owning.
Yeah, sorry to rush you, Linz, but we are just a little bit tight on time. But what I want to get to is, what are the options then? You explained why banning is just going to be very hard to enforce and might actually add to the cachet of these animals in some sectors, people who think that it's great to wander around with a very dangerous animal. Obviously, education, and there's clearly a lot of outreach. But we're also seeing people are now surrendering their pit bulls, probably frightened about the possibility of an animal that they think might be well trained but has that inherent aggression. What are you, as the Pit Bull Federation of South Africa, proposing for individual owners and proposing for the pit bulls of South Africa? What are the solutions in your view?
Well, the first thing that's so important for people to understand is you need to know, are you a pit bull person? And you need to understand the responsibility and the requirements of owning these dogs. They're not easy dogs to own. They require a lot of work and dedication. At the same time, you know what? We have laws in place. We have gazetted bylaws that, if enforced properly, will work really well. We have an act, the Animals Matters Amendment Act, and all we need is for our police, our metros, our prosecutors, our magistrates, and our courts to take dog bites seriously. Globally, the problem is dog bites are not taken very seriously. That people don't realize how serious a dog attack is. All we need is for our already existing laws that our officers know how to enforce, or should know how to enforce, to be enforced. And once they're enforced, once there is accountability, once people know, hell, if my dog gets out and bites somebody or attacks somebody on my property, I could go to jail. I could face a serious fine. I'm all of a sudden going to think twice about how I own my dog. But with regards to surrendering, and I need to stress this, the SPCA is not removing people's loved pets. There is no pit bull ban. However, we need to commend them for raising their hands and saying to these people in these communities, if you've got a dog you're afraid of, or a dog you're not managing, or a dog whose needs you can't meet, or your dog is under threat, surrender your dog. The sooner we can get problem dogs out of society, dogs who do show human aggression, dogs who are a problem and are the potential for a problem, the safer we can all be. But also, at the same time, this fear and this panic needs to calm down, and both sides have created such a frenzy and so much fear that what we are seeing now is, on both sides, it already has started getting ugly. So we do need our law enforcement to step up. We need our ward councils and our municipalities to calm the fear. People need to know they have rights and that their rights will be respected. And it will happen very quickly once people feel heard on both sides. But what we are seeing now is panic, and it's fear, and it's scared people. They're not bad people. Yeah. They're afraid people who've been ignored and brushed off by the justice system.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for being that calm voice, giving us real insight into some of the challenges in the pit bull sector. Rautenbach, spokesperson for the Pit Bull Federation of South Africa there. Now, still ahead, we've got